and let me go back for one other. You probably had Crohn's long before you were diagnosed with it.
I did.
What was going on in your life? Would you just thought you had funny bowels and?
I had graduated college, gotten into my first real job, small company growing, and I just thought it was all stress related because I was under a lot of stress at the time. A new family, new kids, young kids, I should say. And so I just thought it was all related to stress. I'm like, I'm just overly stressed. And stress, of course, flares those inflammatory conditions up. So.
And with working such long hours, Dave's diet, of course, consisted of fast food. I was at home, lots of candy.
Yeah.
I was at home prepping meals, so he didn't eat a lot of processed food such for dinner. But for breakfast, it was always cold cereal, sugary cold cereal.
And lunch was usually on the run with
Yeah, I mean, it's just fast food. I mean, lunch and dinner, fast food usually, yeah. Because I was working, 60, 70 hours a week. And then just a lot of stress, So it took about 2 years. Initially even when I first got diagnosed with Crohn's disease, I would go into the hospital. If I was having pain, I'm like, I have Crohn's disease. And they'd say, you have what? They'd never heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
That was 20 years ago. And I even had some doctors go, well, let me go look that up because that sounds familiar, but I haven't.
Yeah.
And it's amazing now. I can talk to almost any person on the street and say, I have Crohn's disease. Like, oh yeah, my sister has that. Or, oh yeah. I mean, it's amazing how many more gastrointestinal issues I've met in the 20 years since I know I've had one.
Well, that brings up a very good point. When I was in medical school back in the dark ages, we did know about Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. And actually, as a surgeon, I operated on a number of people with Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, taking out pieces of their intestines and telling them that you'll be back,
right?
Because I'm going to take out more of your intestines, or you're going to develop. This is pretty gross, but you're going to develop fistulas coming out of your skin, and it's devastating. Yeah. And we just go, yeah, this is what's happening to you, and get over it. And we really didn't have much of a hope.
Exactly what my surgeon told me, literally. Yeah.
So, but I think you bring up a very important point. These were rare a while back. And now, every other commercial on TV we see for, medications and, and I think, and certainly the evidence is that our autoimmune diseases have just, gone through the roof in the last 50 years, last 20 years. And you're obviously one. Anybody in the family have anything like this looking back?
Autoimmune diseases, yeah. My mom has multiple sclerosis. My brother has multiple sclerosis. Another brother has rheumatoid arthritis. And what else?
Interestingly enough,
Jen has rheumatoid arthritis, or had, until the plant paradox.
Yeah, game changer. You made my life. Seriously, I can't thank you enough. You don't know how hard it was for me before I did this diet.
Yeah, it was bad for her.
It was really hard. And to be 44 years old and feel like I was an 85-year-old and not a good 85-year-old.
Because we're going to be healthy at 85 and bike riding and all that, right?
Right.
My kids, to make a trip to the store, my kids would have to drive me. They'd have to hold on to me so I could even walk. I couldn't even go get the mail out of the mailbox. That's how, and prior to this, I was biking 25 miles a day. I was always very, very active. And then it hit, and my life it was very depressing to go from being so active and everything just to laying on the couch. Or a lot of times I would just lay in the pool in a float just to give my body a rest from the pain. And so, thank you. I think that you don't realize how many people you've helped. You really need to realize that. What a difference, what a change you're making.
Well, thank you. And that's why I do this. And, that's why I still see patients every day, even on the weekends.
Wow.
I know, what an idiot. But it's because of this. It's because of, people writing and saying, changed my life. How many times were you told that there was nothing wrong with you, that this was all in your head?
Constantly. And I started to question myself and say, am I going crazy? Am I imagining the pain? Have I become, a hypochondriac when there's nothing wrong? I'm just trying to get attention. And I would go over that in my mind, and that just contributed to the depression. Because I'm like, why do I feel like this? No one can see it, but I feel horrible.
And she had a doctor say once, well, you are getting older. And I'm like, you're 44. You shouldn't be feeling like this.
Right. You're going through the change.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or, of course, you're tired. You got kids.
Yeah.
I've heard that a number of times, too.
Sure. No, absolutely. That was such a common thing. And I think for women, if you've had that said to you, it's so depressing. And I wasn't ready to settle. I have grandkids that I want to hang out with. I have grandkids that I want to play with. They're not born yet.
I was going to say, boy, you got started early.
They're coming. So once they get here, I want to be active with them. I want to be out playing. I don't want to be on the sidelines thinking, oh, I remember when I used to be able to run and play. I want to be actively doing that. So I decided, and really it was through Dave's support, I'm not taking this as an answer. We are doing something else. We are going to keep searching and finding that. And really, it was awesome to have Dave's support to not let me settle for that lifestyle and continue to just lay on the couch and be miserable.
So you're miserable. He's miserable. Tell me what happened next.
My sister actually probably, I don't remember when your book first came out. It seems like it was around April 2017.
Yeah, literally 2 years ago. Yeah.
And I think May of 2017,
Yes.
My sister sent me your book. She just ordered it and said, hey, I've been reading this book. Now, she doesn't suffer from any problems. She just wanted to lose a little weight. But she's like, I've been reading it, and they keep talking about autoimmune diseases, and I think you should read it. I had it for about 6 weeks, and when you're chronically ill, people are always trying to sell you on something.
Constantly.
And I've tried other diets. I'd tried eating healthy. I'd tried eating super clean. I always lost weight, felt better, but my Crohn's never improved. So I'm like, here's another diet. And then this was at the same time she was 2 years ago, at 44, 2 years ago, she was miserable. And finally one day I'm looking at her on the couch, her life had just gone to a standstill, and the book is sitting in front of me. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna pick that book up and read it. So I started flipping through it, and immediately I found some of the stories with patients with rheumatoid arthritis where it had cleared up, and I'm like, Jan, you've got to read this book. And so we come to California a couple times a month, sometimes at least, because we're big Disneyland fans. And so on our drive down to California, it's about 5.5 hours, she started reading the book.
And I would share with Dave, oh, listen to this, honey, listen to this.
And we finished it on the way home and started the diet the next day. And
Yep.
we've never looked back.
As
And
simple as that. On the way down, I was so impressed, and the stories of patients that you've worked with just made such an impact on both of us that we were like, we're doing this. Even as we were in California that weekend, we tried to just kind of remember the things that we were supposed to eat. But yeah, we just started right away. We're like, we're doing this.
and her pain went away almost immediately. I mean, it was staggering. I'm like, why isn't our doctors telling us this stuff?
Exactly.
I always say, you can't see unless your eyes are open. And sometimes doctors just don't see. There was a Facebook posting yesterday about a person who's been on the plant paradox, was on 3 medications for cholesterol, for high blood pressure, and also for atrial fibrillation, an abnormal rhythm of the heart. Mm-hmm. And the doc has been prescribing these meds. And so I guess after about 6 months of being on the plant paradox, they stopped all the meds and didn't tell the doctor. And they had just gone to the doctor's office, and the doctor said, now, aren't you glad that I got you on these meds because, you're staying out of atrial fibrillation, you have no high blood pressure, and, this is going to be something that you're going to do the rest of your life, and, here's your refills for next year. And they posted, on Facebook, well, now I've got 2 years of prescriptions that I will never fill, and I don't even bother discussing this with my doctor anymore because he'll say, that's impossible.
Right.
And even though, he'll say, oh, you're actually taking them or something like that.
Right.
No, I've been off my medication for a year, and I hated being on it because you look at the list of side effects. I had reactions to them. I feel the side. I hated being on immunosuppressants, and but they had the conversation. You're either on the immunosuppressants or you're on the operating table. One or the other, you pick.
Well, and Dave,
and I've been off them for a year now, and I feel better than ever. And fortunately, my GI has been supportive in that, hey, if it's working, keep doing it.
Good for him or her.
Yeah. So I'm glad to be off the meds and feeling awesome. And
it's a miracle. It really is a miracle.
As long as we stick to the diet, and sometimes we cheat. We're human beings, sometimes.
What happens when you cheat?
Immediately you feel it. Like I can feel it. It's weird. I feel it in my skin. I get rashes. My gut bloats up. Mm-hmm. I get in pain. My bowel movements, are affected.
I feel it in my joints.
Yeah.
My joints will start to get sore and just achy again.
And so quick.
Very quick.
Yeah.